Oh, hello everyone, and we, the BLH team, are here to talk to you about local history and the British Association for Local History, which we are all involved in. My name's Joe. I'm joined by David, Jude, and Tim as well, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about what local history is, why you should do it, and how you can do it. And obviously, a very brief introduction because we've only got 10 minutes, and then we're going to talk to you about our organisation and what we do and how we might help you with your local history efforts. And we've also got another talk on BLH and some of our resources and linking some of these to the different themes of the events of each day over the 10-day event. So do watch out for that as well. So what then is local history? Who wants to have a go at that?
Me, I'd like to do that, please.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
go
right?
on, David.
Can I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that?
I think
What is
I...
local history? Well, it's a challenge, mostly. Local history is the history of your little place. And this whole thing is all about that place. And I come from the deep south, from Eastbourne in Sussex, but now I've lived in Yorkshire for 35 years, and I really feel I'm more local to Yorkshire. So local history is studying your locality, whatever way you want to do it. And that, I think, can lead you to lots of wonderful discoveries. And I love the detective work more than anything.
Yeah, I think that's really nice, isn't it? Yeah, that the puzzle, the inquiry. It's local history is investigating, and it can be a place of a different size. It could be a street, it can be a village, a town, part of a town. It can be somewhere that you've lived, somewhere you live now, somewhere as with genealogy, with somewhere associated with your ancestors. But yeah, I love that puzzle, that unpicking, that the questioning, which is good for those of us who enjoy research and have inquiring minds. Absolutely. So, what then? Why then should we do local history? Because we've just told you it's going to be a bit of a challenge and a bit of a puzzle. But why do local history? Tim, I think you've got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I'd take that. Well, for many local historians and enthusiasts, local history is much more than just learning about the past. It's about understanding our identity, our communities, and our place in the world. Um, Using and studying archive material like records, diaries, photographs, or material culture like objects and buildings, it allows us to tease out the stories of the people who lived and worked, loved and struggled during the courses of their lives, the people that we literally walk in the footsteps of every day. I'd just say that in a world that normally focuses on global and national history, studying local history and saying, no, the stories of my ancestors or the roots of my community matter. It's quite rebellious, and it does go quite a long way towards preserving niche and personal and overlooked stories.
Yeah, I think that's a really lovely way to put it.
I,
Absolutely.
I never thought of me as being rebellious or that rebellious anyway.
It can be, can't it? It's a way of looking at the past in maybe underneath those big grand narratives and looking at ordinary people and ordinary places and of course in the footsteps as well. One of the wonderful things about local history is that we can connect with it in a very real way.
Absolutely. And I think, when you say, Tim, walking in their footsteps, that is absolutely what it's all about, isn't it? Finding an old set of steps or an alleyway and thinking, oh, my ancestor walked down here. That just brings it all together for me.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've told you what local history is, or what we think local history is maybe, and why you should do it. Obviously, there are lots of reasons that you should do local history, but we're probably preaching to the choir a little bit here. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk then a little bit about some of the ways that you might do local history. And Jude, you had some ideas here that you were going to share. Is that all right?
Yeah. Let's see where we go. I think, as has already been mentioned, I think local history is very much about that inquisitive mind. And family historians have an inquisitive mind, but it's finding a bit of breadth to that. And I often think, about when we're looking at a particular place. For example, we're going away on holiday to somewhere we've never been before. We kind of find out about that destination. You know, not many of us would just get on an aeroplane, for instance, and touch down and not have a clue where we are, as in terms of geography, etc. So I think it's about, you know, treating local history in that same way, finding out about the place. And there's so many different ways that you can find out, you know, why is that place there? Why did it, you know, why did it become a place on a map? Did it grow? Did it shrink in size? And all this is very much part of that local history. So for me, the number one thing is maps. Maps for me is, you know, my starting point for family history and local history. And on that, it's not just finding where your ancestor lived, but you can use that family history to get to know more about the place, as in local history. Where were the churches? Where were the schools? What route did people take to get from A to B? And once you've done the map research and got an idea of where you are in terms of geography and topography, then if you possibly can visit in person, perfect. But if you can't, now we can do visual visits. So start, you know, using the internet and having some, you know, visual visits. Find out if people have got photographs that they may share with you that they have from that place. Researching local history is just as important as researching family history. So go to the local library if you can, or see if you can borrow a book from the local library and find out that so many books are written about a local place that you find in that local, you know, locality. Online, have a look at trade directories. These are fabulous because trade directories give you that little, you know, paragraph of starting point to look for your local history, and general web searches. You know, if you're in an urban area, you'll be able to find out what happened and what the trade and industry was, and get some triggers for your explorations.
I think one of the things I really like about it as well is that is doing the oral history side of it, because oral history plugs into both family and local history. And I've done some projects that involve talking to some of the local people in Yorkshire and asking them about their past and what they're doing now, and it just links up so well with puts it in a broader context when you know a little bit about the environment that they grew up in. And I don't think you can do, in a way, you can't do local history without doing a bit of family history and vice versa.
Yeah, I think that's nicely put. Yeah, fantastic. So you've got people, places that you can go and speak to, interrogate, talk to, secondary literature to go and read up. And if you get very good, obviously, maybe write some of your own. All sorts of journals, books, things that you can read, and maps, always fantastic. Everybody's favourite resource, I think. Any other quick fire resources or places you can go to learn about your local history?
Living history museums, Tim.
Yeah, thank you. You got there before me. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something to be said for going to a living history museum like the Black Country Living Museum or Beamish, and talking to they're often called demonstrators or reenactors, and talking to them about their the experiences that they've had. And you find, I mean, I always say this to my colleagues at my museum, that we can't know everything, you know, at all. And you'll find that visitors going to these places will share stories like, oh, my family did this, or I learned about this doing my family history or my local history research. So you never know what sort of nuggets of information people have got tucked away.
Brilliant. There we go. Fantastic. And we've talked quite a lot about people. Obviously, there is all sorts of archival research that you can do in all sorts of documents, you know, records from, you know, parish records, wills, newspapers. You know, there's a huge wealth of material out there. But I think that's really nice not to forget living people in the real world and to talk to them. So that's nice advice, David and Tim. One of the important things that we do as local historians, just as family historians and all kinds of people, when we've got a shared interest, is we come together and we quite often work together, talk together. We share ideas and resources, share our findings as well. And one of the great ways that we do this as local historians is through local history societies and groups of varying sizes, sometimes right up to county level, right the way down to your local village history group as well, or maybe the history group of your page. So there's lots of ways that we come together as local historians. And just as we come to end our little discussion here, we just want to tell you a little bit about our organisation, which is the British Association for Local History. And we represent local historians and local history across Britain. We're the umbrella organisation for lots and lots of local history societies. And we represent these local historians and societies at a national level. And we try and support you where we can with various resources and initiatives. You can see one of our upcoming talks here in December on English merchant shipping in the 16th, 17th and 18th centuries. So you can come along and learn about different resources that you can use for that. And of course, that theme, which is important, particularly if you're interested in an area near the sea. Do any of you have any favourite resources or things that BALH does that you think we should give a shout out to before we leave people?
Yeah,
Jude.
I love looking at the resources, you know, in the top banner. And within there are the 10-minute talks that have been recorded. And I was looking at one recently that really took my interest, and it's called The Railway Now Arriving. But it isn't as such about railways, it's about the impact on the parish when a railway arrived. And that to me absolutely sums up the local history of that area, because it's the parish as it was, and then the change of the parish through the railways, and that massive part of history, the Industrial Revolution, that impacted on local history, many, many people's places. And so, yeah, I love that one.
Brilliant. Yeah. So we've got our 10-minute talks, which are great little snapshots, a lot like what you're listening to now for all about that place. We have other talks in person as well. We have conferences that we run, study days, and we're always looking to run more. I know we've got a couple of Yorkshire representatives here, keen hopefully at some point to get something up in Yorkshire. But over the last year or so, we've had events in London and in Taunton down in Somerset. We've got plans for an upcoming conference in Southampton, for example, next year. And we also have publications as well. And just as we end, just to mention, we've got our quarterly journal, which is The Local Historian, which is academic research detailed on a place, but quite often relating to wider themes and pointing you in the direction of other resources and ideas and inspiration. And we have our quarterly magazine, Local History News, which is contains all sorts of news about different things, archives, events, things happening near you. So there's all sorts of ways that you can use BLH to learn about local history. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. We've got our website, so please go and check that out. I think I'm probably covering it here with the thing. But yeah, www.blh.org.uk. Go and have a look and see what we've got, and hopefully the association are able to help you with your own research. So we'll leave you there. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Good.